This is On the Mark. Pleased to have the commissioner of the Big 3, Roger Mason Jr. here. Look at you. Played in the league and now the commissioner. Did you, like when you were dreaming the life of Roger Mason Jr., did you ever imagine that you, has there ever been an African-American commissioner in any league anywhere? I think you're a first.
I think I might be a first, at least in the U.S., but no, it's not something that as a kid I thought would happen, but quickly as I started my NBA career, I got really interested in the business side, so I started having kind of thoughts of being involved on the management side of sport pretty early in my career.
I want to go back in time here before we celebrate the first year of the league, which I'm assuming you went as well or better than expected. How were the first conversations and how did you get involved and who reached out to you first, all that stuff?
Yeah, no, I mean, we've, you know, I left playing in the NBA in 2014. Went to work with the NBA Players Association, and during that time, we had brought in a guy named Jeff Quadnitz to do some things. We did a Players Awards together, and he was doing some marketing stuff for us. And we had always talked about this concept of 3-on-3 basketball. Well, you know, a year later, he circled back and he said, "Look, you know, Ice Cube and I have put this concept together of a traveling league. We think you'd be perfect to come and be the commissioner and president and help us move it forward." So you get a call from Ice Cube, you know he's a visionary, you know he's someone that you know, everything he touches goes to gold. So it was a no-brainer. Do
you listen to his music? Do you got a favorite Ice Cube song? Do you do the karaoke thing? Any of that?
Yeah, everybody's grown up to Today is a Good Day, right? And so you know, I've always been a fan of his and somebody that you know, everyone kind of looks up to as just more than just a rapper, but really a businessman and TV star. So I've had my share of karaoke days with Cube's hit records.
So how are you guys looking as far as building it from this year? And I know you just added Ron Artest, who's another big name into the league. I'm wondering how you're going to handle him. We'll get to that in a second. But like, how do you guys plan on going from the excitement of the league and all these big names, and here's Allen Iverson, and there's Dr. J, and now, okay, this is actually here to stay?
Yeah, I think, you know, the nostalgia of the league in year one was real. So a lot of people didn't know what it was. But I think what, you know, a lot of fans saw and the feedback we got is that the basketball was good. And ultimately, for the league to have success, yes, people want to see these stars again, but it's good basketball. It's 3-on-3 where they can still play at a very high level. And we think in year two, the guys know what to expect. We're going to have some more names that weren't even a part of the league last year. We'll have pretty much everyone back, and they've signed 2-year deals. So we're excited about the new guys. We're excited about, you know, people understanding what the game is now. And we think year two will be even bigger.
Who are some of the big targets you're looking at here? I mean, there's rumors about KG might want to play. I mean, Kevin Garnett would be a nice addition, I'm sure. Paul Pierce's name has been thrown out there. I've talked to you before. I'm like, my dream is like, I feel like Michael Jordan wants to play in this league. Why not, MJ? A little, you know, play 30. How many games in the season?
There's 10 games in the season.
I mean, come on, 10 games. You know he wants to get out there on some part of him.
The competitor in Michael Jordan, there's no doubt that he would love to play, I think.
Yeah.
But obviously he's an owner of a team. Okay. From a time standpoint, this is not the league for guys to put one foot in and one foot out, because they're coming at you. So, I mean, look, I think Kevin Garnett, as you mentioned, Paul Pierce, we know, is very interested in coming in. You know, Big Baby Davis, I've been talking to Birdman, Chris Anderson.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of guys that have reached out with interest on playing this year, and so I think it's going to be fun.
So when these guys are coming to you, are they most interested in playing? Are they saying, Roger, how much are you going to pay me? I mean, what's that conversation like?
Yeah, you know, a lot of these guys have done really well in their careers. They're businessmen, so of course, you know, what they're being paid is something that they ask about. But I think it's really about the competition. It's about the camaraderie. Our season was a lot of fun for these guys, and I think that's evident by the fact that pretty much everyone has re-signed for another 2 years that played last year. So they're calling just asking about the format and you know, how the teams are picked and things of that nature.
How are the teams picked?
So there's 8 captains, as you know, and each captain, they're able to sign 2 co-captains.
Okay.
Last year was 1. So, for example, you mentioned Ron Artest, Metta World Peace. The captain is Chauncey Billups. Now, Chauncey has signed Steven Jackson, Ron Artest, And so that's a formidable top 3 already that they have. In April, there'll be a draft, and they'll draft the remaining 3 players.
Okay. Now, I see the smiles like popping up on your face here. No interest getting out there yourself? I mean, come on.
I said something earlier. This is something you can't have one foot in and one foot out. Okay. And I have too many other things going on, particularly, running this league and obviously with Jeff and Cube as the founders, CEOs, and visionaries, making sure that, I get all the players in shape and ready to perform on the court. So no taking off the cape and getting out on the floor with those guys.
Do you want them to at least know that, if I wanted to, I could. It'd just take me, a couple weeks, maybe a month or two, and I'd be ready to roll. Yeah,
they ask me, you still know how to shoot? And I tell them, that's like riding a bike, but you got to put the time in, and that's not something I had to do right now.
Let me talk a little bit about your NBA career. And, the most games you started, of course, was in San Antonio, and you're being coached by Pop, and you're, playing with legends, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker. What's that San Antonio culture like that they just keep doing it and doing? They've had great players, but there's always something about that organization they seem to do right.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on it. It's the culture. Yeah. And it's the consistency, right? So they bring in a type of person, type of player. They typically fit in, and if they don't, they won't last too long. But, at the core, they've had great players. Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. I mean, to have 3 franchise players like that and the stability of having those guys for over a decade is the reason why they've had so much success. And
playing for Pop, were you intimidated by Pop? The way he handles the media, all of that stuff. I got to give the guy a ton of credit. I mean, he speaks his mind. He's a social activist, is what he is at Pop. I mean, it's impressive.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the rest of the NBA community is seeing that. I saw it at an early stage with San Antonio. I mean, look, some days we'd go in and we wouldn't even practice. We'd go in the film room and we're looking at something on the civil rights movement.
Wow.
And so from a basketball standpoint, you respect the guy that holds everybody accountable, whether it's Tim Duncan to the last guy on the bench. Pop's going to let you know how he feels. Wow. And I think the media has seen that. And so there's a consistency about him that actually translates well for wins and losses when you talk about culture.
Right. So, all right, you're a commissioner now. I'm just thinking about how the NBA is partnering with its players and how their coaches, Steve Kerr, Pop, are talking about what's going on in the world. And then you look at what's going on in the NFL, and there's just a lot of, it doesn't seem nearly the same. And the fans to the game are having a lot of reaction on both sides. People who think that the NFL is not doing enough, and people that think that the NFL should, I guess, put the players in their place. Like, how do you? I think the NBA is getting a gold star for what they've done right now. I'm curious your thoughts about all that.
Yeah, I think Adam and the league, along with Michelle Roberts and the Players Association, they just got in front of it. There's a conversation that I had with Adam this summer, and I think, both the players and the league, I think they got in front of it before it became an issue. There is a rule in the NBA as it stands, so that made it pretty easy. But it's also about the message. It's also about, all right, at the core, what are we trying to get out of, everything that we're doing from a social responsibility standpoint. So I applaud the league and I applaud the players on how they've handled it.
And how are you guys going about, has there been discussions around how the BIG3 wants to play this? If guys want to do social awareness stuff where, hey, like, this is important to me and I'd like to get a message out there?
Yeah, I mean, we've always been, as a league, focused on players first. And, for myself, coming from a union and having that background, and then also Cube and Jeff Quadnitz both being in talent. So, I mean, we hear our players out loud and clear on all issues, and it's something that I'm sure we're all going to talk about.
So you're working here with Remy Martin. We got the MVP experience, All-Star game coming up in LA. So tell me about the MVP experience here that's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Remy, period, and they're my drink of choice. And for me, it's about aligning with excellence. And so this MVP experience is just that. We're gonna have a lot of fun. All-Star Weekend in LA this year is gonna be great, and it's gonna be a nice time having Remy a part of it.
What do you think of the format changing here? We're gonna have captains, no East versus West. Maybe it'll make the game a little bit more competitive.
Yeah, I just like progressive thinking. You know, thinking outside the box. The All-Star game was a little stale. I think the players saw it, the fans saw it, and this new format is cool. It actually reminds me a lot of the Big Three. You know, if you think about it, you have captains picking their teams. It's kind of the basis of what our league started on last year, and I think for the fans, for All-Star Weekend, it's going to be fun.
What's up with this 1738 sneaker box here? This
1738 box is the MVP Experience box with 1738 in it, and they'll be in select retail stores for folks to get out and get this this cool package right here.
This is not like any like big baller LeVar type of situation here, because I know you had the shooting contest with Cube that made a lot of noise.
He lost the shooting
contest.
Yes,
he did. With Cube. Big time.
He did.
It was ugly.
Yeah, I mean, he had a lot of talk, you know, but we'll have to have him out season 2 to see if he can redeem himself.
Okay. What do you think about what's going on with Lonzo right now? I mean, he's shooting 30%, 25 from 3. I'm wondering maybe he could use a little Big 3 time in the summer to get the game together here. No disrespect to anybody here.
That kid is, what, 19 and 20 years old?
Yeah.
With all kinds of expectation on him.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
You know, I really do. You know, it's a tough adjustment coming into the league, especially with those type of expectations. But when you look at his personality, I think that's what's going to win. He's a hard worker, and he's a humble kid, and I think that's going to serve him well.
Do you think that his dad has done him a disservice with the? I mean, the spotlight is on him a lot because of his father. I mean, we can't run away from that.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I think there's a lot of fatherless kids that would love to have a dad stepping up for him the way that he has, and so. You know, some of his style is, you know, rubs people the wrong way. But I think the fact that he supports his kid is a great thing.
Charles is killing him on the NBA on TNT. I know. It's that's his choice. I got it. Hey, one other thing I know you're doing. You have this social app called Vaunt. You don't stop here, Roger. What's that all about?
No, Vaunt is an app that you can search both on the Android or the Apple iOS, and it's a platform that allows influencers to get their content out to their fans their way.
Very cool, very cool. And I know that Remy is partnering with GQ, and GQ just named Colin Kaepernick the Citizen of the Year, which is getting attention left and right. What do you think about GQ giving that props to Colin? Yeah,
I mean, look, I think that, you know, in today's world, sports plays a huge role with social responsibility. For GQ to name him that was a big deal, and it garnered a lot of attention. So kudos to them for that.
Yeah, yeah. It has. What are conversations like with Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, who, of course, played in the championship game, and you know, when he played, there was a lot of spotlight on him as he was trying to make his own message out there. I'm wondering if he's like come to you and say, hey, I would like to do this or that, anything like that going on, or is just playing ball?
Yeah, no, he hasn't. I think he was a lone wolf back in the days that he did that, and certainly Kaepernick took a lead from him, but we haven't had any conversations.
Okay, okay. So going back through your career, just a couple guys I want to highlight that you played with, like one, Jay Williams, who you know, got in this severe motorcycle accident. Mm-hmm. What kind of career do you think Jay would have had if he had stayed healthy?
Well, there's no doubt Jay would have been a very good player in the league. You know, we got drafted the same year. Same time, we have the same birthday.
Oh, wow.
And so we followed each other, and I'm happy for him with the way things have turned out. But I remember, you know, vividly him being in a locker room with that motorcycle, and a lot of us kind of cringing with it. But things happened, and he's bounced back from it.
So he was, like, when he got it, he was like, I got this sweet motorcycle, and you're like, hey, that's not a great idea type of stuff?
Pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Yeah. Vince Carter. How's he still playing in the league?
We're ready for him as a Big 3.
Right?
Vince, come on. We're ready for you.
I mean, he's perfect for the Big 3, right?
I think he said he wants to play one more year, which he's 40,
right? Still
dunking, still playing at a high level. So he's going to squeeze as much out of the league as he can. But I mean, that guy is a testament to him and reinventing himself. He came in the league as a dunker, and now he's a three-point shooter and mentor. So it's neat to see. Who's your
all-time Big 3? Can take any era. You got 3 guys you can pick.
3 guys I can pick.
You can go all guard. You can put bigs in there. Whatever you want to do.
My top 3 would be LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and Shaq. For a big three roster, you give me those three, there's nobody that's stopping those three.
When people do the LeBron-Michael argument, what goes through your head?
It's hard for me because I grew up watching Michael Jordan dominate. Yeah. And it's also hard for me because I ended my career with LeBron in the Heat and saw his greatness. They're different players. If you have to say, you know, who you're going with, Michael Jordan's got 6 championships and LeBron doesn't. Right. So maybe you look at that, but it's hard. Both of those guys, to me, are the greatest to ever do it.
What was being on that team like? You had LeBron, you had Wade, I mean, you had Bosh.
Ray Allen.
Ray Allen, right.
Yeah. It was great. You know, I was talking to, you know, some friends earlier this morning about it, and it was, you know, they called themselves the Heatles for a reason. You know, every arena, you're getting the best shot. The fans, there's an energy in the arena. And it was a lot of fun, you know, going to the White House and seeing Obama with, you know, and Michelle and all of those things. So it was a great year, great way to finish my career.
There was, you know, social media is so big nowadays. I'm wondering how it impacts the big three. But so LeBron's riding the subway in New York with his whole team. Some comedian is sitting next to him. They thought it was a college basketball team. Didn't recognize him. I love that he does that stuff. I'm curious how you guys look at all the platforms as a way to, you know, just get your guys out there and what it can mean for just you know, promoting the league, period. Yeah,
I think that's great for LeBron. I mean, it's just matter-of-factly, look, it's, you know, shorter time for me to take the subway. Right. You know, and yeah, I think one of the things that gets lost with a lot of big-time celebrity players is, you know, they're humans, and sometimes you just want to do normal things. So I think that was awesome, and I think, you know, with the guys we have in the big three, it's about, you know, bringing the fans even more of an experience that they wouldn't have. That's what, you know, that's what I love about what Remy's doing is bringing the experience to life in an organic way. Yeah. So you know, we have a lot of fun with it. I think nowadays with social media, it's a lot easier to get that access that you wouldn't otherwise have. So this is now what, I mean, you guys are about, you know, the ball and being serious here, but like just a little bit of a social media event. I got Ron Artest, Meta World Peace, and I got Oak in an old school NBA tussle. Who are you taking? Oh boy, well, I was with Ron Artest yesterday. Okay. So we spent some time together, and I love Ron. And Ron is probably one of the most sculpted, you know, NBA players that the league has ever seen. But Uncle Oak. Yeah. No, I don't think I'm betting against Uncle Oak. And you know, he's got that respect. We were all teammates with the Bulls. I got here right when Ron Artest was traded to Indiana, but I know those two are too good of friends to ever square up. But I'm not betting against Uncle Oak. Yeah, I see Uncle Oak every now and then at the gym here. Uncle Oak, he says he can't put on any more weight, but he's still lifting, still doing his thing. Yeah. All right, so wrapping up here. Next season, you guys same 10-game schedule. And what other, is there any tidbits that might be coming out before we get going again here? We might have some big news here soon. We will have some big news, so I'm not going to be a spoiler there. But more names, I think better quality of play. You know, these guys are training now and preparing for the season now that they know what to expect. So we just expect a better product and even more fan excitement. And Trilogy went undefeated last year, and it was so cool seeing Rashard McCants hit the last shot of the season to win it. And here's a guy who had an up-and-down career, and it was emotional for him. I mean, he ripped off his jersey, and you could see it on his face that it meant a lot. So here's a guy sort of reclaiming himself, getting a moment in time that he didn't have in his NBA or overseas career. Are you kind of, is that maybe just a little bit of a selling point to, hey, like you could get something here that you didn't get elsewhere? Yeah, I mean, I think so. You know, he's a talent. I mean, he's a top, you know, Andre Iguodala said, you know, to him, he's one of the top 5 talented players he's ever been around. And that's a big statement coming from Andre. But no, it's a platform that allows these guys that can still play at a high level to get another crack at it. And, you know, I think that, you know, he was a great example of that. I think this year we'll have some examples of guys that are trying to still continue their career in the NBA, and they want to show that they still have it, and they want to use our league to do so. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some of the guys in this year's season in the NBA the following year. Golden State, good for basketball, bad for basketball? It's good for basketball. Look, I mean, they're a super team, and I know there's a lot of complaints in other markets, but they're fun to watch. If I know they're going to be on television, I'm watching.
Me too, all day. Great teams have always been good for the league. Lakers, Celtics, Bulls, all that. Heat. All right. Working with Remy Martin, Roger Mason Jr., you're the man. Appreciate it.
No
and
problem.
I hope you guys have, I love the idea, I love what you're doing, and I hope it lasts for however long you want it to.
Appreciate it, man.
All right. If you like that video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, or for more of our content, you can click right here. I think I'm giving you enough time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right over here. Thank you for watching.